Andrea from Prairie Sky DIY, your Stamp It Up demonstrator in Manitoba, Canada. Today we're doing a little bit of die cutting, we are doing some coloring, we're doing a fun fold, we've got a little bit of everything going on. I'm going to be using Silly Goose, which is available in the catalog that goes until the end of April 2023. I've got basic white cardstock, Dainty Designs, which is free during celebration, that goes until the end of February 2023, and our Layering Circles dies. Now, I've got my big cut and emboss machine out, and I love this machine. The plates, the sandwich recipe is on the plate, so it's always easy to see what you need to grab. So we're going to put on our base plate, plate number 2, which is a shim for the die, plate number 3, which is incredibly well loved. I'm going to back that off a bit. And then we're going to put our paper, make sure I've got it going in the right way. And then we're going to place our die roughly center. Now, if you wanted to, you could hold it in place with a little bit of washi tape. I tend to go on a bit of a wing and a prayer and hope that it'll stay where I need it to stay. And if it's not, you can always, like there, my plate number 2 is a little bit well loved, so it's not 100% flat, so things do tend to move around. As long as it's centered-ish, I'm good. Now we're going to give it a bit of a shove to get it going. You want to turn your handle the way that you want your paper to go. And I'm going to run out of space. My desk is clean, but it is not wide. Okay, and then we're just going to pop, oh shoot, I grabbed the scallop. That's okay. And then we're going to keep our die cut piece for another project another day. Close this guy up, put him on the floor, and then we'll get started with our card. I usually use my floor as storage for the bigger stuff. But everything is in its place now. My craft room revitalization is almost done. It's actually quite lovely. Now, when you're folding your paper or when you're scoring your paper, the way that you're folding it will determine how flat it's going to lie when you run it through your scoring tool, whether you're using a ruler and a bone folder with a scoring tool, or the Stampin' Cut or Stamping Up trimmer like I have. Where the groove is, you want that to be the outside spine of your card so it will lay flatter. Now we're going to do a fun fold, as I mentioned. I'm not going to put everything together yet, but I am going to layer it up so that my image is centered roughly where I want it to be. So I'm going to be using our little pool goose. It's not exactly warm here today. Kind of feeling a little bit of a summer tropical vibe. I'm going to grab my Cup O pencils and our stamp block. I think I'm going to use the smaller one today. All right, usually I put the sticker on, not all the time. Today's going to be a not applying the sticker kind of a day. So memento for this guy, and then make sure that it's roughly where you want it to be. Now I do want to put the sentiment underneath, so I'm going to make sure that she's a little bit higher so that I can place my sentiment there when I'm done coloring. So I'm going to take our card apart, and we're just going to add our color. I really like this stamp set, especially if you're newish to coloring, because if you're stamping on white, the geese generally, at least in my world, I usually leave them white. See, we'll do Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. Pacific Point. I usually leave the geese white because it's just easier. Coloring can be as quick or as detailed as you want it to be. Now with the watercolor pencils, I like to use my blender pens usually, but you can also blend it with Wink of Stella. It works really, really well. You can also use a water brush. I don't tend to use the water brush very much with them, mostly because I'm not great with that technique. You can see I'm just doing a very light run over with the blue because I am going to be using my blender pen to make it a little bit more smooth than what it currently is. Rich raspberry for the flowers. Old olive. And there are a few different color points in this, but as you can see, it's really quick and easy to come together. And do her ribbon is going to be yellow. Cajun Craze will be the hat color. Now, one of the tips when you're using the blender pen is to make sure that you brush it off between colors, because if you don't, you'll see some color transfer and nobody really wants to have green in their blue area. If they're similar tone colors though, I will usually stick them fairly close together. Now, I did have a blender pen. There we go. So now we're just going to blend our colors. I like to use a light touch when I'm using the blender pen, especially if I'm just using regular basic white paper. And the reason for that is that you don't want the paper to saturate too much. I haven't had it really happen very much lately, but if you do add too much liquid to the basic white, it can pill the paper. Kind of dab these just to kind of get rid of some of the pencil lines. And then we'll just add a little bit of detail in the water. I just wanted a very faint look to the water, so I'm just very lightly picking up. I'm going to brush the blue off. Color our little frog here. See how quick and relatively easy this color application has been. I'm not being too terribly fussy. I mean, I am still staying in the lines, but it's just basically dabbing to get the color to smooth out and to give it a little bit of definition. You do want to be careful when you're using Memento to stamp with because it is water-based and it can pull the color when you're using the blend. But if you're careful and stay away from the line, you don't really notice it that much. Okay, so our goose is done. Grab our sentiment. Gaggle of Good Wishes. I hemmed and hawed about this stamp set. I really wasn't sure that I wanted it, but then I saw what other people were creating with it and I decided I kind of really needed it. I'm glad I got it. I really do like it. All right, so there's our Gaggle of Good Wishes. Now we're going to grab our card again and just make sure that we're going to be able to see our sentiment. straight up, straight down. And then all we need to do now is the assembly. So we're going to grab our tape runner. We're going to put it on the back of the card. This is a new one, so I need to start it. I usually just do a couple of strips on the back. Now you want your spine to go to the right for this one. And before we apply it and push it completely down, I'm going to make sure that it's roughly where we want it and straight. And then we're just going to put our card down. And then of course you can decorate the inside however you want. This fold is absolutely fantastic when you've got a card that you want to really show off both sides of the designer series paper, because it does a really great job for that. Now I am using the In Color matte dots, the 2022-24, and I'm just going to grab the lighter blue and I'm just going to plop it. I like them because they're variegated and they do provide quite a bit of interest on the card. And of course my take your pick tool is what I'm using because it makes it so easy to pick things up. And then do our last one about there. All right, so there's our fun fold, quick and easy, ready to go, ready to be sent for somebody's birthday. As always, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you spending some time with me. Don't forget to hit subscribe down below so you're notified every single time a brand new video comes up. And if you'd like to get some inspiration into your email box, be sure to sign up for my email as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.